So as we've said before, and we will say again, the point of the show is to hold the politically powerful institution of policing accountable. Part of that process is examining the political forces that empower policing in a country inundated with it.
Boys talking down, I got the diamonds in my mouth.
You're not listening to your boy Alex. You're not listening to your boy Alex.
All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
What's up, all y'all out there, internet land? It's me, JC, also known as Keys. I'm taking a stroll through my old neighborhood, y'all. This is where I started in Philly. This is Kensington. Probably one of the roughest areas in the city. Just wanted to give y'all a look. I'm going to Impact Services, where I used to stay at when I didn't have a place to stay. You see the top of the building right there. We're gonna be doing a poetry slam, open mic night. I'll get back to y'all when I'm in there.
Case in point is the story we are going to tell you today. A story that reveals just how above the law enforcement really is. It's part of a political and cultural phenomena that has created the two-tiered criminal justice system we've called out before. But this dual system of leniency for some and cruelty for others is not enforced simply by dictate. No. As we will see today, it is in part the result of the powerful tools of rhetoric that, along with the complicity of mainstream media, tells a story that justifies the stark imbalance of American policing and makes a style of unjust justice possible.
It was 100 yards on shore, right? It's about the size of a football field for my football fans. And they said she laid about 200 to 300 eggs, right? I said, man. They said, however, only 10%, after they hatch, only 10% of those eggs make it back to the ocean, because they get eaten up by the seagulls, the sea lions, and otters, and all the things, right? So these marine biologists, who are some very smart people, right? They came up with this idea, and the next time the mother sea turtle laid the eggs and they hatched, they gathered them all up in the net, and they took them and they put them in the ocean. Guess what happened?
They died.
They all drowned. And what they found out was, it was during that 100-yard struggle to the ocean that it hardened their shell, it strengthened their legs and their lungs, and they needed that 100-yard struggle to make it. I said, I'll be damned. I'm a freaking sea turtle. Right? Because when you think about your struggles, your past, whatever it was, whether it was drugs, alcohol, abandonment, whatever, mental health, that struggle, man, and if you made it through it, guess what, man? We here, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want to welcome my fellow sea turtles, all right?
Remember, as the Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, rhetoric is the process of making the worse appear the better cause. But in the realm of policing and law enforcement, that concept has been turned into a narrative akin to a religion. And what is the impact of this rhetoric on the psyche of our country? Let's examine the past to understand the present. As we all know, one of the most pernicious policies in this country has been the war on drugs. For decades, police used the pretext of drug crimes to initiate illegal arrests, seize property, and disrupt poor communities.
Reach for paper, light it up and illuminate it. Struggle to hold back tears, want to do with a lifetime of anger and frustration. When anger erupts above a whisper, the truth roars. Why do they fear Idris Elba? It's coming, and media distorts it to Willie Horton mythological proportions. Black Lives Matter. The only retort, white men with white sheets burn down Black Wall Street. Terrorists that terrorize black ghettos, black hoods, black communities, the Cahaba Boys for 400 years and more. Birmingham, Alabama, black church bombed. Innocent men, women, and children torched beyond belief. The year of our Lord, 1963. What type of man does this? Where was our government? A government without God is apt to do such things. Who turns hoses, turns dogs, and turns it back on its own citizens? Whose enforcement officers arrested and brutally beat demonstrators who came in peace? Seeking equal justice, opportunity, and freedom, for I am a man. All should cringe when any decent American vows to take America back. Back from whom? Back to where? As if those who much is owed to are without right to such claims. Instead of vowing to be accountable to the Constitution and/or the uplift of the ideals within the Declaration of Freed Men and Independence, such that the promise shall become a statement of fact. Mendacity creates a revisionist of history, law with disparate enforcement. Do I trust renegade officers supported by the courts? The demonization of men of color. Nubians are on average 6'4". Proficiently placed technicalities purpose to exploit. There is no purpose for government that does not serve its people. This is an American tragedy, not a West Side story. Where is our Pope? Wherefore art thou humanity? When faith without works is to eliminate slavery only to reduce the freedmen to servitude and force their descendants to compete with imports and or products produced by free labor. To attack the poor with welfare reform and now find that 60% of the budget went to the administration is unwarranted. If there is not fair housing, what is the purpose of the legislation? If recidivism is a given, who benefits from mass incarceration? Politicos that receive donations supporting the transport of poor whites, Latino, and black bodies upstate, the community's most vital resource through privatization. Reach for paper, lighted up and illuminated. Struggle to hold back tears, want to do with a lifetime of anger and frustration. When anger erupts above a whisper, the truth roars. Why do they fear Idris Elba? It's coming, and media distorts it to Willie Horton proportions. Mythological proportions. All lives matter. The only result. Thank you.
Oh!
Thank you.
Stephen, we've discussed the special psychology of the war on drugs, but it's also bolstered by a mythology, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the mythology of the war on drugs is the mythology of the perniciousness of the object. You know, that possession of an object somehow was comported an entire spectrum of some sort of, force or some sort of evil or in many ways the racialized animosity or the animosity of the other, but and the animosity against the poor. And that object allowed the police to basically circumvent the civil rights of almost all of us. And of course, against that was the narrative that you saw in media and you saw in Hollywood films and everything, that the impediment to somehow taming that object and the people who possessed it were the civil rights that had been granted to us through the Constitution of the United States. It was a dual sort of narrative that said, on the one hand, embodying this object in a proximity to it is evil, and on the other hand, the only way to extinguish it is to violate the principles that this country was founded on. So it was really a way to make policing sort of the prime narrator of why some people weren't deserving of political agency.
Right.
This road, right? Something like this road. Okay. All right. You use mine? Yeah, I take the mic.
Dog is your mic.
All right, guys, I got another one for you guys. It's something that's grew off the top of my head. It's called Your Life. We coming to this world born carefree. This is the start of life for you and me. You start off young, knowing right from wrong. You determine how long your life will go on. Growing up from a child to adult, accepting good, bad, and all your faults. We are all here to do the best we can, trying to be the best woman or man. Our decisions we make today will always be here, and they won't never go away. Living your life out of worry and care, dealing with your problems, facing your fears. So this is your life. So this will be heartaches and problems, growth, pain, and strife. Make your best it can be. Make it the best you can be. Get the darkest days of life when always clear to see. You feel sometimes that your life is going down and you feel like there's no one around. Sometimes life isn't always great, make you want to escape. Life is happy, joy, sometimes we cry. These are the emotions we have until we die. Life is filled with chances of opportunity, hoping that you can be respected in your community. We don't ask to come here. We didn't ask to come here. Not at all. But we must climb this ladder of life until we fall. So live your life so right and true. So the only one to blame when you go wrong is you. Live your life. All right.
It reminds me of that saying that someone who's willing to deny liberty for the sake of security deserves neither.
Yeah.
So this constant reiteration that conditions like poverty, addiction, and general malaise are the byproducts of a moral or personal failure, while untrue, needs a social agent to make it real. And that agent, as Stephen discussed, is policing. Policing is the myth-making machine that equates poverty with moral failure, and inequity is a byproduct of productive capitalism. Think about it. How else could a government agency take billions of dollars of property without due process, or take the freedom of tens of millions of people because they possess a substance, or shoot and kill us over a car stop? How can these injustices be sustained without the rhetoric that accompanies it? The idea that police are in an existential struggle and under threat. It's a narrative that is assembled one illegal arrest at a time. And of course, to drive this point home even further, we have a story that reveals the true imperative of the so-called justice system, how it protects those who enforce it, and how the so-called tough on crime laws aren't predicated upon justice, but they are there to create a potent scarlet letter to wield against the victims of governmental overreach and neglect. Case in point is a police misconduct story we referenced before, the conviction and sentencing of Baltimore police officer Michael Gentile. Gentile was convicted of using a handgun in the commission of a felony when he pointed a gun at our guest, Kayvon Miller, and we will let Mr. Miller tell the story. Not just about the crime itself, but what happened when it was time to mete out justice.
Started at 6 a.m. we in at 1600. Meet up in the hangar, let's see how they want it. Announcements over speaker, must inject the vision. Be your one, just let us go and you don't never listen, no. Liberty, we screaming liberty. Attention on deck, the captain entering. Liberty, we want our liberty. Unless it's duty day, it comes eventually. Scrubbing down the deck, needle gun to rest. Put the new guy on the punt, let him paint the ship. TPS, it's time to check the whistle. Dive back in the closet like Jack in the Fisher. I hear him saying that boy sleeping, he ain't in his rack. It's hot as spot is decent, need a pimpin' ass. Keep the cap suspended like a laundry rat. Ain't can change the shipping unless we paint the blacks. Tension on the line, tension on the line. Figure 8 with more and do this all the time. When it's said it's done, they get a bird's nest. Really nitty rap don't make me nervous. We start at 6 a.m., we end at 1600. Meet up in the hangar, let's see how they want it. Announcements over speaker, what's the deck division? Be your one, just let us go while you don't never listen, no. Liberty, we screaming liberty. Attention on deck, the captain entering. Liberty, we want our liberty. Unless it's duty, then it'll come eventually. Thank you.
Woo! Kayvon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So first, just tell us about your encounter with Officer Gentile. What happened?
Well, on the night in question, I was actually like taking a break from work. I was just going to, it was kind of cold out, so I was going to go get a hot coffee from the convenience store not too far from my house. From my job. After I got the tea, I'm walking up Monument Street. As I get towards Edison and Monument, I'm crossing the street. I'm like in the middle, what do they call that?
The crosswalk?
Yeah, like in the middle of the crosswalk. And as I'm getting ready to cross the street, a car comes turning the corner really fast and it almost hit me. So like as the car almost hit me, I'm trying to back up and it's a curb right behind me. So it's like, all right, I kind of tripped over the curb and it's like the momentum of my hand made the tea come out of my hand and it hit his car. So he rode up maybe about 100 feet, if that, and he stopped his car. He got out of his car and he said something that I really couldn't hear, but I'm like, basically like, you almost hit me with your car. That's what I'm yelling to him back, like, you almost hit me with your car.
Oh my God, Nelson, go ahead again.
I'm sorry. Hold the mic. Hold the mic all the way up.
Yeah, hold the mic all the way up. Okay, we
Ready?
Seriously, ready? Okay. Love bug, sweet, sweet love bug, woman of our heart, pride of 124. I adore you for nothing more than giving your soul to the tired old men and never demanding respect. Sweet, sweet love bug, you I will never forget. A smile with your brown eyes warms my soul as much as everyone else's. Again, never demanding in return For I know to us, lost souls, we are your men. Greatest thing is my wife, is not mine, for she knows I'm in an angel's hands. When I came to 124, I met 3 angels who helped me to believe I was not a monster. 3 strangers who never asked or demanded, just helped me to get back that man my wife so dearly missed. Through time, 2 angels have flown away. For other places, I'm sure they're still guiding lost souls back to better themselves. Sweet, sweet love bug, I am glad you haven't flown away. Sweet, sweet love bug, I'm glad you stayed. Thank you.
But I'm still walking towards my job, crossing the street. And he get out of his car, and it's like maybe 3 seconds later after he get out of his car, he pull out his gun. He pull out his gun, he pointed at me, and he started to walk me down. I got my hands in the air, and he steady coming close to me. Like, what the fuck did you throw in my car? I'm sorry if I'm not
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. We're just going to be on YouTube.
What did you throw in my car? I'm like, man, it's almost high tea. I mean, it's high tea. You almost hit me with your car. So it's like, he's not hearing anything I'm saying. It's like he's mad. So he keep asking me the same question over and over. What the fuck was that on my car? This, that, and the third. And I keep repeating that it was hot tea. And I keep repeating, you almost hit me with your car. So he was like, after that, he's getting closer to me. Now he's maybe your distance away from me. So that's maybe like 10 feet, if that. He was calling me stupid ass, stupid. He called me, after he started calling, he called me a bunch of names, pretty much whatever you could in the book. And then next thing you know, he was like, you stupid fucking nigga, turn around, which I was already on the ground. I had my hands up. He told me to sit on the ground. So I'm like sitting on the curb. And he told me to turn around.
Never good enough, baby. Never good enough, never good enough, never good enough, never good enough. Never good enough. Woke up one morning with you on my mind. Don't know if I even have enough time yet. Sit around and think of ways to make you fall for me. Oh no. I run around and give you all my money. Even though sometimes you're acting a little funny. You need to know that you will always be in the world for me. Oh yeah. It seems that my mission is clear. My course is uncertain that we're about to get motion in motion. To every potion in motion. People, they hold us and cheat us. Sometimes they tell us they need us. Pull us and break us apart and take it down to an art. But you will see, there's no one else like me. My love is true and it's all for you. But it's never good enough, baby. Never good enough, never good enough, never good enough, never good enough. Never good enough.
So once I turned around, he told me to lay flat. So now I'm laid flat, I got my hand stretched out, and it's like my chin is on the ground. And it's like 2 seconds after that, he asked me again, what the fuck was that on my car? So after that, it was like, boom, a hard press against my head, which I knew he kicked me because once he did that, once he stomped my head, he busted open my chin. So after that, I kind of like turned around and I'm like trying to sit on my butt. And as I'm sitting on my butt, I could see his foot pulling back. So I knew he kicked the back of my head, or stomped the back of my head. And after he do that, I'm like, man, you just put your, like, what you just hit me. Like, what was the point of that? And he was like, man, you threw something on my car. I'm like, man, it was T. Again, I keep saying the same thing. And he just cussing me out. He just saying a bunch of words. I can't remember everything verbatim what he said, but he was saying a lot of, like, degrading words to me.
And the gun was pointed at you this whole time.
Yeah, so it's like...
Did at any point he say that he was a police officer?
No, not that. He didn't, he never said that he was a police officer.
So for all you knew, this was a
just thought-
deranged
Just a road
madman
rage.
that was
Yeah, I didn't know who
pulling
he
a gun
was.
on you.
And, you know, my nerves started to really kick in, even though I had to kind of like play it cool because nobody was out there. It was like dark out there. It was kind of late at night. And it was only kind of like cars riding past. So I didn't know what he was going to do. He could have shot me and, you know, could have got away with it, but...
America, 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 labor for America. Flip
has America done for me? Nothing but made me a zombie. I don't know who I am. I try to act like somebody else. No name, no language, no culture. Got our women acting like some Aunt Mamas, Julius, Sapphires. Got our men acting like Second Section, Manti Molan, Willie Best, and some Rochesters. What has America done for me? Nothing but made me a zombie. Took away my uncle life. Gave me some groceries, some dead white man hanging from it. Teaching us about Mary had a little lamb. Mary was white, the lamb was black, and what about old Snow White? Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to give her poor dog a bone. I lied. She gave the dog a steak and gave the bones to Negroes. Neck bones, pig feet, ham hocks, chitlins, guts. Made us gut eaters, whiskey consumers, soap users, Uncle Tom niggas. That's what America done for me. Made me a robot, a Frankenstein, a puppet. What has America done for me? Nothing but made me a zombie. Integration, segregation, dehumanization, emasculation, frustration, and complete annihilation. If you are seeking a just education, we are taught to hate ourselves. That everything white is right. We are taught to hate ourselves. Everything we learn is right. Jack and Jill is right. Dick and Jane is right. Little Bo Peep is right. Little Jack Horner is right. Little Red Riding Hood is right. History is right. Civics is right. Math is right. Spelling is right. Social studies is right. Santa Claus is right. And he coming down from Black Chimney. Shut up! No wonder black people hate themselves. America, America. Why did you bring us here, America, America? Why did you bring us here? To make slaves, to make us work for no pay, yeah, for no pay, work all day for no pay, America, America. Why did you bring us here, America, America? Why did you bring us here?
Didn't it turn out there was a witness that actually saw him?
Yeah,
pull a gun on you?
it was a lady that was driving by, and she saw it. And as she saw it, she called the police and let them know what was happening. So that was kind of like one of the things that was working on my side, because when initially I started to tell a story about what happened, I really didn't think nobody would believe me. So once I knew there was a witness, I kind of felt good about that. But again, as I'm starting to get up, he's starting to back up, but he still got the gun pointed towards me. And as he backing up, he's still calling me names, but he kind of like walking towards his car. So now as he's walking towards his car, I'm like walking towards my job, but I'm also looking for my phone because I'm trying to like get his license plate or something. Okay. And I didn't have my phone. It was inside of work. So once he got into his car, I'm kind of angry because I'm like, man, I'm feeling my chin. I had like a Ravens hoodie on and it's really bloody. So I'm upset. So once he get into his car, it's like I started to like walk towards his car, but I'm like faking like I got something in my hand, like it's a phone or something, like I'm trying to take a picture of his car. Once he see me try to do that, he sped off.
Yeah, so tell us, didn't you actually go to police headquarters to speak with him, to maybe find out where his head was at when he did this?
I'm like, yeah, man. I started to brainstorm, and I'm like, it's a police precinct, maybe 3 or 4 blocks up the street from where I work.
Now listen to me. Call the person that was coming to get you. Tell them they don't need to come. All right? Yes. Okay? So go ahead and call them. I'm going to take you to jail, and I'm going to impound the car. Before that, no.
I can't call them if you don't open the door.
Why can't you?
Because I will not put my...
Use your phone. It's in your lap right there.
I just don't want to put my hands down. I'm really sorry. I'm just...
Killing me, Small. No. I've just been wasting any videos of problems. But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people.
Killing me,
we only
Small.
kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen white people get killed? You have.
I don't know what's in his heart, but I certainly know what came out of his mouth, and it's inexcusable, and we have to take... Killing me, Small. The recommendation is to terminate his employment from the Cobb County Police Department.
Hey guys, this is Amber. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can help out by hitting the like button and also sharing with your friends. Have you hit that subscribe button yet? If not, make sure you do so. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the bell notification so you can be the first to see all of the latest videos. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.